Good morning. Camp is all cleaned up and we are heading to Donahue Pass. So, good day ahead, we hope. Such a beautiful area in here. A little waterfall up there. Can't see it very well, but there it is. All right. We know it's going to get hot today. We're hoping to get as far as we can before it gets hot. I think I said yesterday, hopefully get up in altitude where it's a little cooler. That is the iconic Banner Peak, which Ansel Adams famously photographed. I must admit I did not know that. Tiger Lily just educated me. This is Thousand Islands Lake down at the bottom of Banner Peak. It's gorgeous. It looks like it needs to be swum in. I'm hoping, I think the PCT goes off this way, so I'm hoping that it circles around and we get to see better views even of the lake from over there. It's gorgeous. It's so clear. And that's why it's called Thousand Island Lake. Well, maybe we'll keep climbing and we'll get an even better view, but now you can really tell why it's Thousand Island Lake. Goodness. Okay, almost all day I've been looking at this mountain here with these ridges on it, kind of. You can't even see them from that angle very well, but I knew that the pass was somewhere over here, and I've been wondering, well, is it that? Seemed sort of maybe obvious, but I really thought it was this flat right here that we were going to be going over. But now, all of a sudden, and now that I'm saying it just disappeared, but right over there, there is a reflection. Somebody walking around over there, which tells me that's probably a hiker, probably going up to the pass, so maybe it's over there. But anyway, that person might also be cutting back and going to there. So we'll just have to wait and see. Well, there's that peak with all the ridges on it. And we are way to the left of that. May not be able to tell exactly, but the first option that I thought might have been the pass is kind of just right in that little crevice. The second option is like, you can't even see it, it's kind of back around, but it's the flat area. And so we are way off to the left and getting real close to the pass and getting close to our first snow. It's a huge field. And interestingly, you know, we've been hiking all back around there all day. I'm nearly certain that's the backside of Banner Peak that we saw earlier. It looks to be the identical shape and it's exactly in the right place. So I haven't looked at it on the map, but I might try and do that later. Yay! So we're almost to the top of the pass. The wind's been picking up for a while. We're almost over the pass. We are at almost exactly 11,000 feet. And there's another pond. They're everywhere. And more snow. And I don't know, this might be pond that was closest to the top of a pass that we've seen yet. Anyway, we're almost there. Down the other side. Once we get down the other side, we're only like, I don't know, we're only like a dozen miles from Tuolumne, which is where we resupply tomorrow. So that's good. We'll, I don't know how many miles we'll do tonight, but if we do a lot, we'll get into Tuolumne early. And if we don't do many, we'll get in later. And another pond. Wow, how clear that is. That's amazing, huh? And actually, I didn't even look up. But if we just continue on with that same pond, boom, I think this is the pass. So I think we're done with this part. And guess what? This is Donahue Pass. I did a few calculations the other day, as I tend to do when I'm bored and walking. And I realized that Donahue Pass is exactly 1/4 of the way along the PCT for us. So we got to continue from here up through Northern California and then Oregon and then Washington and then go back down and do the 266 miles of desert down to the border, and then we will be done. But we are now 1/4 of the way done with the trail. Woo-hoo! Now that we've come across the pass, we are now in Yosemite Wilderness. And that is the Yosemite Valley down there. And so, if we wanted to, we could take a little detour tomorrow and go into Yosemite via bus and all this, but that would take a bunch of time, and we've already taken a lot of time lately, so I think we're going to cruise on through. Should be beautiful. This might be the most amazing water we've seen yet. Wow. Alright, it's time to try to get rid of a little inflammation. Woo! Good morning. We're off to Tuolumne. All right, we're rolling this morning. We finally, after really all afternoon and early evening, we were hiking down from Donahue Pass. So Donahue Pass was not very difficult to get up to yesterday, but boy, coming down, just a rocky mess and for miles and miles and miles. So anyway, we got almost down to the bottom when we tented last night, and now we're at the very bottom, and this huge meadow out here is gorgeous this morning, although it is cold. It wasn't too bad in our tent, but it once we got out of the tent this morning, it was a bit cold, and now that we got into this meadow, it's extremely cold. That beautiful waterfall up there, see that? So we're heading into Tuolumne to resupply, but the weather has shown that 3 days ago in Tuolumne it was 107 degrees, and yesterday 105, and today 104. That's what it's supposed to be. So, boy, that doesn't sound good at all. But then obviously we're supposed to head into the mountains and, you know, potentially even see a little more snow and stuff. So anyway, we're hoping we time this right and it's not horrible temperature wise. We'll find out. This meadow down here in the Yosemite Valley is just magical this morning. Probably every morning. Seen lots of deer down in here, but it's just silent. And the water, clear as can be. And it is dang cold. Did not expect that. Whew. We've been going for about an hour and a half now. You can see there's a bunch of tents behind us. There's a bunch of people set up there. Getting a later start. I don't know that it's starting to warm up by nearly past some little shallow, just some shallow water a bit ago that was frozen. So it's cold. But we're moving fast, trying to stay warm, you know, it makes you move a little faster. We just saw a sign that Tuolumne Meadows is about 5.5 miles ahead. So we really have been moving fast today. And we've been following this Tuolumne River all morning long. It's been beside us. Just been really cool. So anyway, I think I put this away and put my hands back in my pockets. Well, we finally got into some sun. Sun finally came up enough, so that's great. It's warming up a little. It was for sure near freezing. Now it's about maybe 45 or so. So it's a lot better. Tell you what, we got really lucky last night. We came down from the mountain. Took a long time, but like immediately when we got down, we tented right there by the creek where you saw this morning. And it was nice last night. I didn't even wear the normal long clothes and stuff that I wear to bed in my sleeping bag. And I was totally warm. Didn't even zip my sleeping bag up last night. And then, boy, once we got out and got going, I mean, it got so cold in that valley. And there were people tenting all over down there. They must have been freezing all night long. I mean, if I would have put on even my rain gear and all my clothes and been in my sleeping bag last night, I would have been chilly, I think. So anyway, it worked out, which is really nice. And now the temperature is about perfect, and we'll see what happens, you know. I know I mentioned it's supposed to be super hot in Tuolumne, which is only 4 miles away or something, so it's hard to believe it can be that hot, but maybe we'll be up in the hundreds later today. I hope not. We're getting close. You can tell we're getting closer to civilization because you're starting to come across some day hikers and stuff. The lady back there could tell we were not day hikers. And she said, "Welcome back, victorious warriors, you succeeded," or something like that, you know, just because she knows we're excited to have made this stretch and get back to get some more resupply and eat. Look at this cool area. Bridges. All right, so we got to the road here and we're heading to the store. It's about 3/10 of a mile down. And it's been weird, even though different places along the PCT, you get close to roads and you hear cars and stuff. And certainly along the AT, it was that way a lot. It's been a long time since we've been in an area on the trail where there were cars. So we were walking this last mile or two, a couple of miles, and we could hear cars, and now walking along the street, and it's a little odd. It kind of feels like, yeah, we're definitely coming to the end of the Sierra. So I think we get back on today, and we probably have another week or so until we're kind of formally out of the Sierra section, but it certainly feels like it's coming to an end for a number of reasons. All right, well, we screwed up. We got off here, walked all the way down to where the post office general store was supposed to be, and it does not exist any longer. So we're trying to hitch a ride to Lee Vining to get some resupply. We'll see what happens. There's Tiger Lily back there giving it her best shot. All right, we're back on trail, sort of. This is the trail, but it's just walking along the side of the road for about 3/10 of a mile. So, all right, these resupply stories often turn into more than what you think they're gonna be. But anyway, the quick of it is, we were standing out there trying to thumb a ride. A guy, Brian, who was on vacation from Louisiana, has a red eye to catch tonight, and he was heading that direction. He just stopped and picked us up, took us into Lee Vining, little town that's quite a ways away from here. Took us to, dropped us to this great restaurant. We had a great sandwich for lunch. Went to the grocery, resupplied. Was really crummy resupply. There was not much there. So we're eating like tortillas and peanut butter for lunch and things like that, but whatever, we'll get by. And then we came out of the grocery, and these two couples of people that were in there, their kids, walking around the grocery at the same time we were. Tiger Lily asked one of them where they were heading and whatever, if they'd mind taking a couple hikers back to Tuolumne. And just so happened they were heading this direction anyway. The two couples were together, and they are on vacation and whatever. Anyway, they love this kind of stuff, and they threw us in the back of their converted Sprinter van. We sat on the floor, and they drove us up here and just dropped us off. And that was Daniel and Robin from Washington / Southern California. They're not sure where they live now. Anyway, oh, what a crazy day. And now we're out here and we're hiking some more. And when we first got dropped off, the sun was behind the clouds, and I was excited, and that did not last long. So anyway, we're going to make a few miles and find a place to tent here in a couple hours, hopefully. Back on trail for 5 days. All in all, we have gotten so lucky weather-wise since we have been out here these 7 weeks now. And today is no different. It was, we've been looking at the weather reports, and it's been well over 100 the last couple days, and now it appears to be, like maybe around 90 or barely above at most, but it's been cloud cover this afternoon since we've been out here. Of course, this morning, we were out before it really was able to get super hot. So anyway, we've been lucky today, just like every other day, but that's not actually why I jumped on here to video. I've been thinking, I forgot to tell you a little story kind of happened in town. So it starts with a few days ago when we were in town. I was on X and I just downloaded, I just let it do its thing and downloaded some news headlines and stuff. And then the other night I was in my tent and started looking at some of those headlines, and one of them said, "Ultra runner attacked by bear in Yosemite Valley." Like, well, we're basically there. What the heck? Well, I couldn't click on it. I had no connection, so all I could see was the headline, so I didn't know anything about the story. So fast forward, and today our new friend and trail angel Brian, who I told you about, picked us up and took us into Lee Vining to resupply. Well, we're all sitting at a restaurant eating together, and we're sitting out front, and we're just gabbing about all sorts of things, and that comes up, and I go, "Oh yeah, I saw this thing," and I tell him about the headline and whatever, and we're briefly talking about it and wondering what in the world could have happened. And all of a sudden this guy peeks around from like he's on the ground around the side of the balcony, kind of, or you know, the deck we were on, and he goes, "That was me." And he introduces himself, and his name, I can't remember. His trail name is Dash. His name was either like I think it was JT. It was something like that. And he says, "Well, here's what really happened." And he said he was literally just running through the park, kind of a populated area, and all of a sudden he just gets broadsided. And by the time he figures out what happened, it was this bear who had grabbed a bag of garbage from somewhere around the people that were there and was just running away with it, and didn't see him and just ran. The two of them just ran into each other. And of course, the bear's much bigger than him. It knocks him over, and he had a good bruise on his shoulder and everything. But he was totally fine. There was no attack. The bear just took off, you know. And that's really the end of the story. But first of all, I just thought it was funny that the headline was "Bear Attacks," you know, when it really was more of a mistake. But secondly, what are the chances that I'm telling somebody about this story and this guy's right there beside us, you know? So, I don't know. It was just, we all got a good laugh out of it. And JT, or if I got your name wrong, sorry, but he was a good guy. He's also through Hike the PCT, and we talked about that a little bit. And anyway, glad he's okay, and, you know, nobody needs to worry about rampant bear attacks here. We're just 1.5 miles from our first opportunity to camp tonight. I'm not sure we'll stay there. Might go another 3 or so after that to camp. But we've come up here to Tuolumne Falls. We've run across, so pretty amazing. Well, we continued down the trail, and there was a lot more to the falls than what we saw from up top. Man. I wish you could be here to feel the mist that's coming off of it that we're feeling. Wow. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Well, we got our tent all set up. We're ready to go back and relax, cleaned up, and go to bed. But this was our view while we ate dinner. Sitting right there. I'd say pretty good view.